Are you thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? Here are 5 questions to ask yourself to determine whether you are entrepreneur minded, if you have what it takes to actually be a business owner or just an investor, maybe passively, or maybe just keep the 9 to 5. Question number 1. Are you the kind of person that prefers being hands on in a business, or do you prefer just taking kind of like a back seat and letting someone else do most of the work as an investor, perhaps? There are some pros and cons. To be a passive investor, like for instance in real estate, you just have to have money. Let someone else look for the property. Let someone else manage the property. Let someone else figure out and analyze the property to determine whether it's a good deal or not. And once it's under contract and closed, you just come in and put a percentage down with them as a general partner, and you get the rewards of being a passive investor. That's the difference between being hands-on and just being passive. And that's just one example. Same with any business. If you're going to be more hands-on, or you want to be partnered with somebody who brings a different skill set than you to the business. So determine that. Now, if you don't have the capacity, the brain space, or the oomph, the drive, the motivation, the inspiration, and the balls to take on a very high risky endeavor like starting a new business, and you're risk averse, or you just don't like to, put yourself out there like that or risk too much money, then perhaps entrepreneurship is not for you. It's not for everybody. Some people need what they think is the security of a job, of a place where maybe they got insurance and they got benefits and all that stuff. But there is an illusion there that a lot of people don't realize, and that is that there is no security, even in a job, even with a big company, because they can disappear at any time. They can cut back at any time. They can go out of business at any time. They can file bankruptcy at any time, and they can let go of people at any time. You've seen it happen many times in the news. So what we sometimes believe is security is just an illusion. It's just what we perceived to be the case, but reality is that if you take control of your own finances, you control your destiny and your own economy. To me, that's more security. Me personally, I'd rather make less money and be in total control of my finances and my business than make more money, get paid more money, but have to answer to someone else, have to be somewhere all day somewhere else, have to help build someone else's dream, and then totally put my own dreams on the sideline. So hopefully that helps. And the next question is, how comfortable are you with risk and uncertainty? You have to ask yourself that question. And if you're okay with taking a risk, there's no reason to quit your day job. There's no reason to stop what you're currently doing to get the ball rolling or to get something started on the side. And perhaps in your very spare time, you can actually make an income from the new business or the new idea. What we do is day trading, and that's one of the very few things that I know of that you can actually do concurrently and simultaneously with anything else that you're doing. And it allows you to build up a new skill set, earn money, earn a living. And if you can get your income higher than what you're currently making at your current job, even in your spare time, then you already know, because you have the certainty now that you can do it, that if you just dedicated a little bit more time to it, you can even far exceed what you're currently earning. So risk and uncertainty, that's another important question to ask yourself. Next question. What is your timeline for success? So do you have a timeline where you need to make a certain amount by a certain amount? If you are you able to understand that some things do take time to build? Businesses, for instance, most businesses fail within the first year. And the ones that succeed, most of those fail within the second year. So businesses is a risky endeavor. How long will you give it to make it work? Do you have 2 to 3 years to really put into something to determine whether it works or not? You should be able to know very quickly whether something is going to work or not. What I always tell people, it's kind of funny that, when they want to start a new business, they tend to go out and do the things that aren't important first. Like they'll get an LLC set up. They'll go and open a bank account. They'll get their logo done for their company. They'll get stationery and business cards and things like that done before they do the most important thing, which is make money. So what you should do is get proof of concept in what it is you're trying to do first. Are you trying to create a product, sell a service? Do that first. Get a customer, serve the customer, get the customer's response. Make sure the customer likes the product or the service that you offered, and then do that over and over again and get like a list of actual customers that are actually happy with the product or the service that you're selling. Then you know you have a viable product. You've got proof of concept. You've actually done it. You made it work. You know that it can work. Then you go out and you invest in all those other things. The next question is, what is it that excites you? What are you more excited about? the creation of something or growth or just making money. Because a lot of people start businesses because they saw someone else do it and they see someone else making a lot of money doing something. So they want to do that thing, but they don't really like that thing. They don't really want to do that thing. They just like what that person has. That person made a lot of money. I want a lot of money. So I'm going to do that thing. But the reality is if you start to do something just because someone else has done it, just because it makes money for someone else, and you don't like doing that thing or you don't want to do that thing, you're not going to be successful at that thing. I know people who make a lot of money doing stuff that I would never want to do. I have a really good friend. We call him Joe Dirt. He's in the dirt business. He owns an excavation company, makes $12 million a year. But I wouldn't want to excavate dirt and have a bunch of truckers and traffic, bringing truckloads of dirt around. But he's very good at it. That's the business he grew up in. He's in the construction business and he became very good at that. So when you just see him on the surface, you might think, man, he's got a beautiful house on the water. He's got a big yacht in the backyard. He lives great. I want to do what you're doing. But you don't want to do that necessarily. So always choose something that you are inclined to stick to and that you actually like to do regardless of the money. Now, if it's just money that you're after, then you got to find the ways that can make the most money the quickest, whether you like them or not. I mean, if I paid you $10,000 a week to dig a ditch 10 foot wide and 10 feet long, but you have to do that every week, how many weeks could you actually dig that ditch before you got totally fed up, burnt out, tired, and just totally exhausted from digging ditches? Even though it's a lot of money, you're probably only going to dig that ditch once. And so you have to really think about all these things before you start on any one particular endeavor. What are you inclined to stick to? What would you be willing to do if the money was not an object? And if it does boil down to just the money, then you really have to consider whether you really like that thing or not. So the next question is do you want to go all in on one thing that you believe in and really focus on that? Or are you the kind of person that wants multiple streams of income and you want to have, and you're just multi-faceted and you're an entrepreneur that has multiple interests and you just like to do a bunch of different things? And the reason why this is important for you to figure out is because multiple streams of income sounds like a great idea, and you're going to see lots of entrepreneurs online pushing that idea. But the reality is that is not how you make a lot of money. That is not how you grow a business. In fact, the right way to do it is you build one thing and you focus on one thing until it's a river of money, till it's a super river, like a really strong, solid stream before you ever start stream number two. You only have 100% of energy. You only have 100% of effort that you can put into something. So if you're splitting that up amongst 2, 3, 4 different ideas or projects, you're never going to give one thing 100%. You're going to give multiple things, maybe 10% here, 20% of your time here, 10% here. And all of those things are going to suffer because you're not giving it the 100% focus that it needs in order to get off the ground or be successful. And so you might have multiple trickles of income, but you will never have multiple streams of income. And I will go as far as to say that the most successful people out there do not have multiple streams of income. They have one solid thing that they built into multiple millions of dollars in business and maybe even hundreds of millions and billions. But it's usually one company that focuses on one thing. Now, do they eventually invest in other things? Of course, but get one thing going first, focus on one thing, be for sure about that one thing, give it your all. And then you'll have the resources to do multiple things after that. And the last question on this list is that, are you a manager type or are you a person that needs to be managed? Do you like to actually, run divisions, run teams and be the boss? Are you a team leader type of person, or are you someone that actually needs instruction from someone else? You need to be told what to do. You need to have somebody else show you the way, because this is very important. Because if you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, and you will end up staffing or employing, you don't necessarily have to be the manager. I ran a large call center many years ago, had 150 employees, but I wasn't doing the day-to-day managing. I started out hiring, staffing, and running everything myself, but then I replaced myself in each endeavor. I even did the interviews and took the calls for people calling in for jobs. As a receptionist, I did everything. I took the calls, booked the interviews. They came in, I did the interviews. And then when I hired them, I scheduled them for a training. And when they came in, I did the training. And then after they showed up for the actual job after the training, I was the sales manager and then managed them as the sales manager. But as I built that company up, I then found the best salesperson out of that group, took them off the sales floor and made them the sales manager and had them watch the sales floor. And then I could focus just on training people until I took the second top producer off the sales floor and made them the sales trainer, replacing myself as a trainer. And then I hired a receptionist to take the ad calls, and she was taking the calls that came in. And I still continued to interview people until after probably several months before I finally replaced myself as the HR person that does the interviews. Then I got to a point where I was just the marionette dangled to the strings, looking over everybody, going into each division, each department, making sure everybody was doing what they're supposed to be doing. So you just eventually replace yourself out of that. If you don't have the inclination to do all that and you need someone right from the beginning, then you just need money, because you can hire all that stuff out. You can get people to do all that stuff for you. And that is sometimes the best thing to do, because some of the most successful people out there, the Elon Musk of the world, they have big companies, but they don't ever even claim to be the best salesperson or the best manager. They hire staff to do that stuff for them. They find the talent that does that. And I will go as far as to say also that you don't even need, even if you are good at any one of those things, you don't need someone else to be better than you. This is a big misconception. There's a lot of people out there that have this type of perfectionist mentality where they're perfectionists, so they think they can't even hire someone to replace them because no one's going to do it as good as yourself, right? But you don't need that. You need someone to be 80% as good as you, 70% as good as you. And if you get two people doing 80% as good as you, well, now you have the production of 160%. You have a production of two people doing 80% as good as you. That's still way more than you can ever do yourself. And as you start to replace yourself in these other, they don't need to be as good as you. So just remember that. But take into consideration these questions and answers. Try to figure out what it is that you want to do and how you want to grow in your business. Now, if you have a job or another business and you just want to make money, pure and simple, then maybe reach out to us at Crypto Renegades. We trade Bitcoin futures contracts. We show people how to trade the markets. And it's one of the only things that I know of that you can actually do concurrently and simultaneously with any other business or job that you have, because you can do it in your spare time from a phone, from a laptop, from a desktop PC, on vacation, in your house, in your underwear. You don't need employees. You don't need a staff. You don't need overhead. So while you're thinking about building a business and you have a dream for a product or a service or something you want to do, and you just need capital, well, you can trade in addition to any of those other things. So if that's something you're interested in, let us know. That's something we do here. But if you have any questions or comments, or have any other ideas that I didn't mention, comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll be happy to respond to you down there in the comment section. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next video.